Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and you are at the home of the Forever Theater Kid. And today I'm really excited to bring you my second of my still unnamed series of true crime theater and my true crime theater related series. I don't know what it's called yet, but I like doing it. So in this series, we talk all about true crime, paranormal topics, and theater, bringing the two worlds together because those are my two favorite worlds to be invested in. Today, we're gonna talk all about very haunting yet beautiful symbol of the ghost light and one of the most famous ghosts of Broadway history who loves a bit of spotlight, Miss Olive Thomas. So if you are interested in all things spooky and theater, stay tuned. Give this video a big old thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I don't know, I just think theater has such rich history and such twisted history too, and there's a lot of crap that goes down that is not just a tap number. It's really fascinating. So I want to talk about it here with you. Okay. All of the information of where I got it and the articles that I cite and that I quote and a podcast that I also listen to will be listed down below. Let's get on into it. Let's talk some spooky stuff. Okay, my script is over to my left today instead of down, so we're working on it. If you're not a theater person and you're watching my stuff, hi, welcome, thank you for being here. When you close a show, when a show is done for the night, when a Broadway show is done, everybody's gone home, everybody's cleaned up, you'll notice in every single theater, there's a single solitary light that stands in the middle of a stage. That is called a ghost light. It's got a very eerie yet beautiful silent image to it, and it's in every single theater, from Broadway to regional theaters to community theaters. I don't think they're in like high school theaters. Who has that kind of a budget? So a ghost light is a small bulb, a small light bulb that is attached to a taller, usually iron light stand, light pole on a bare stage, and it's the only light that is lit, and it's pretty close to the edge of the stage near the orchestra pit. The orchestra pit is many, many feet below. It's originally said and rumored that the reason behind a ghost light is strictly a preventative issue. To prevent falling, to prevent someone knocking into something on the stage. If there is one single solitary light, hopefully someone won't fall into the pit. It's one of the rumors of why ghost lights started is because a burglar actually broke into a theater, fell into the pit, and proceeded to break their leg and had the audacity to sue the theater that they broke into for medical costs and like insurance. The gall, the American gall. Rude, but also props to you. Get that money. The other idea of a ghost light is theaters used to be lit solely by gas. Before electricity happened, they had to light it somehow, and their preferred way was gas. Seems like an awful idea. Ghost light was actually seen as a type of preventative safety issue, so that once you turned off all the other gas valves, you left one gas valve slightly open so that it created this little, like wee little, like sweet little baby flame. Oh, the little ghost lights. They would keep that little valve open to prevent a gas explosion from happening in the middle of the night. So those are like the practical reasons that we have a ghost light, right? Do we like practical in theater? Well, yes, actually, we do. We love practical ways of getting around the stage. But in terms of superstitions, hell nah. Give me the superstition. Give me the lore. I don't care about the practical reason. Come on in. It's to keep out the ghosts. You don't hear from me. The origin of the actual superstition behind a ghost light is not known. Way to go, theater people. So the different superstitions around a ghost light are either we keep the ghost light on to ward off evil spirits that are in a theater, or we keep the ghost light on to give the ghosts of the theater a little bit of playing room, a bit of a stage, a bit of a spotlight, as it were, to do their little like dancey-doos that they do like they do in the Haunted Mansion. I love that idea because we all know theaters are haunted as fuck. Theaters are so haunted. Are you kidding me? The haunted energy in a theater is massive. The ghost light is a symbol of welcoming, is a symbol of like, we still here, we're still up in this theater even though the lights are out. As almost every single person knows in theater, what a sweeping accusation. As many know, almost every single theater, at least in New York, has a theater ghost. I know mine did in college. So today I'm gonna tell you about one that has a little bit of a relation to the Ghostlight itself. The New Amsterdam Theatre in New York City is one of Broadway's most haunted theaters, and particularly because of one spirit. Now, interestingly enough, the New Amsterdam Theatre is known to the Broadway community not only as housing Lion King, Mary Poppins, and now Aladdin, and so many other Disney theatrical shows before, Beauty and the Beast. No, that was Palace? No. No. Yes, yes, definitely not. It's one of the only theaters that doesn't ever truly go completely dark. So instead of just having one single solitary light in the middle of the stage, many lights up in the grid are lit as well. So it's said that it never truly goes dark, which is just interesting. I didn't really find anything else other than that, but I just thought that particularly interesting fact about the New Amsterdam, so that one day when I go back, I'll notice that. The New Amsterdam Theatre opened up in the early 1900s, and it was home to many a vaudeville acts. It was seen as one of those theaters that everybody went to. But with the Great Depression and with the World War and just general darkness that went over the Broadway community, the theater fell into complete ruin for over 60 years. Even when Broadway opened back up again, nobody bought the theater, nobody was touching it until 1993 when it was bought by the Disney Theatrical Group. And interesting enough, I was listening to this amazing podcast. The information that they gave, Disney doesn't own the New Amsterdam Theatre. It signed a 99-year lease. Disney doesn't own it, so I don't know actually who's the landlord over the New Amsterdam Theatre, but it ain't Disney. They signed a 99-year lease. Seems very unnecessary. Renovated it in 2 years, and so now it is been brought back to life in the opulence that it was in the early 1900s. In the early 1900s, the New Amsterdam Theatre was home to the incredible Ziegfeld Follies. And among the Ziegfeld Follies is our girl, incredible, sassy queen of a woman named Olive Thomas. If there was ever a ghost that I'd want to embody, it's Olive Thomas. What a queen. What an icon. So a little bit of background. Olive Thomas was a woman before her time. So Olive was born Olivia R. Duffy, and she had a pretty rough childhood. Her father died when she was super young, when she was about 15, and she had to help take care of her family. At 16, she married for the first time. That's super young. That's a lot to take on at age 16. She was married to this dude named Bernard Thomas, and she was just super bored. This is not the life that she wants to lead. She wants excitement. She wants a thrill. She does not want to be bored, stuck in her house, married to the same man. So what does she do? She goes to visit her aunt in New York City. She's never seen New York. She gets to New York and she's like, NYC. Literally. She gets there and she's just like, oh, I'm never going back. Yeah, I'm done here. Yeah. Calls up Bernard and she's just like, hey Bernard, bye. You're boring. I want a divorce. I'm gonna keep your name. Okay, bye. According to Medium.com, Olive was said to have the face of an angel and the mouth of a sailor. Literally, me. So with that beautiful face and with that like raunchy, that raunchy language, she worked really hard, working job after job after job, and she was just like, you know what? I'm gonna be a freaking star here. I'm gonna like make New York my bitch. New York is going to like want me. Like, I'm not even gonna want New York after a while. Like, New York's gonna want me. And all of her friends were just like, well then prove it. Oh, okay, fine. So like this one day she just like entered herself into this outrageous contest called The Most Beautiful Girl in New York City, and she freaking won. So it said that after that, like everybody was like, oh my God, like Olive, like, oh my God, Olive, like pose for my pictures. Oh my God, Olive, like model my shiz. Like, oh my God, Olive, like take nudie pics, which she did. And she was just like, fine. Like she was just like, I don't care, I'm gonna like live my life, I'm gonna be famous here. But then everybody loved her. Everybody was obsessed with her. And next she was just like, okay, like I'm good with the modeling, like I'm the prettiest girl in school. What's next? The Follies are famous as hell, I'm going over there. So it said that she walked up to the dude like running it, who I think is named like Florence, and was just like, I want a job. I wanna be a Folly girl. And he was just like, come on in. And she was a hit. Overnight sensation. Everybody loved her. They were obsessed with her. People would literally come to the theater to see her perform, and she's just like, I'm killing it. I'm slaying it. She was like one of Ziegfeld's like favorite girls, and she even like started like low-key like fooling around with Ziegfeld. I mean, I'm sure he was fooling around with like thousands of Folly girls, but she was just like, no, like Ziegfeld loves me and I love him and we love each other. It's like, I want you to leave your wife for me and I'll be like your main girl. And he's just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. He goes, well, because my wife is Billy Burke. You know who Billy Burke is? The OG Glinda. Glinda the Good Witch was his wife. And he was just like, I'm not leaving Glinda for your young ass. You're probably just gonna leave me very soon. So she was like, okay, Ziegfeld, I'm done. I'm over you, out of my life. It took too long, it took too long, 'cause it was my birthday. Like that song, that's like what she was singing. She's like, well, you know what, I'm gonna go to Hollywood. So she did. She literally packed up and went to Hollywood and started doing silent films. Her haircut and she was like one of the original Flapper girls. Like what you see costumes based off of is like what Olive dressed in those movies. Like she was the original Flapper girl. And so she was famous. She was a hit. She was a star. And that caught the eye of a little gentleman named Jack Pickard, AKA Hollywood's most favorite son. Literally. Cool. And they like fell in love. They were just like, oh my God, like you're famous, I'm famous. Like let's make famous lives together. So they got married. But Olive didn't want to take on his name. She didn't want to be Olive Pickard because she was like, no, I've grown my fame. I've grown my name to Thomas. I'm not gonna change it. I also don't want people to know that we're married yet because I don't want them to think I only married you to get famous because of you. But you know, everybody kind of knew. Probably weren't sneaky about it because it said that they would literally like party like rock stars. Like everybody knew. In this one article I read, they had this really awesome quote about them that I just want to read. Two innocent looking children. They were the gayest, wildest brats that ever stirred the stardust of Broadway. Both were talented, but they were much more interested in playing the roulette of life than in concentrating on their careers. Living up that 1920s, Great Gatsbying it every night, like drunk, drugs, sex, like they were just like, it was everything. New money, they were just living it up and not taking any type of precaution. We find out later that has an effect. So a lot of times they lived on opposite coasts because of their jobs. Their relationship got pretty rocky. So to like rekindle their love, they went on a second honeymoon. So they went to Paris in September of 1920, and after a crazy night of partying, they got back to their hotel room, and very unfortunately, Jack went to sleep, drunk out of his mind, probably. Olive was just like, I'm gonna try to soothe this oncoming headache that I know I'm gonna have. And so she went into the bathroom and she opened a bottle of pills to which she thought was aspirin, but unfortunately was not. And it was said that she wrote a letter to her mom, drank from her flask, and then took these pills. She didn't read the bottle, and apparently it was also in French, so she couldn't even read the language, thinking that the bottle was aspirin. The bottle was not aspirin. The bottle was mercury bichloride pills, which were a corrosive supplement, and they were meant to be used as a topical medicine mixed with water to create a paste to put on sores and ulcers that were from the STI syphilis. Jack had syphilis. 1920s, no protection. Jack had syphilis and had a bottle of his syphilis medicine she thought the aspirin would be. She takes the pills and immediately realizes she's made a huge mistake, and unfortunately it is the beginning of the end of Olive. She has taken poison. It started to burn her throat. It made her go blind. She screamed for her husband. He tried to give her raw eggs to induce vomiting. Doctors came and tried to pump her stomach 3 times, but there was no way to save her. And unfortunately, very, very sadly, Olive died a very slow and painful death within 5 days. There's a lot of speculation that it was an attempt at taking her own life, that it could have also been a plot of murder from her husband, but it was deemed as an accident and just a huge tragedy. She died at the age of 25 and is buried in the Woodlawn Cemetery in the Pickard Tomb in New York City. Super, super sad. But Olive very much lives on in the New Amsterdam Theatre. So like I said, there was a huge renovation in 1993. It took about 2 years, and when the theater opened again, its first patrons were people that had actually been there for a very long time. Quite a few stories of people seeing Olive at the theater, and they're really, really cool. Some are quite creepy, but I think it's really awesome in the ways in which she shows herself. Olive is usually seen in the New Amsterdam Theatre, seen in a green beaded gown, like come on green thing, like she is wearing her Persephone gown, and she is wearing a headdress, and she is carrying a blue bottle of medicine in her hands.
I just looked up and inserted a picture of what mercury bichloride bottles look like, and it's a blue bottle. She's carrying her poison. It's real. It's so real.
Every single time someone sees her, that is what they say that they see. Probably the most famous sighting of Olive is when, so it was about 2 a.m. The director, the main manager, or the president of the Disney Theater Group was called in the middle of the night by a security guard of the theater. That person rushes to the theater thinking something catastrophic has happened to the theater. Just see the guard going, like, pacing back and forth outside, looking extremely distraught, extremely stressed and anxious. They're like, what happened? What happened? Tell me what's happening. Apparently the guard was making his rounds and checking out the theater, checking out the stage. No one was on the stage, and as he was, except the ghost light. The ghost light is lit on the stage, and he's walking, making his rounds, making sure nobody's there. And all of a sudden he felt something or someone watching him. Turns around thinking it might be an intruder, and just sees in the light of the ghost light, figure of a woman dressed in a green gown, a green beaded gown, the beautiful headdress, carrying a blue bottle. He tries to speak to her. He tries to go, ma'am, like, why are you here? Why are you here? She just ignores him, continues to watch him, maintains eye contact, blows him a kiss, and proceeds to walk through the wall that leads to the exit and the stage door on 41st Street. The poor guard thought he lost his mind. Losing his shit. A couple weeks later, the director brings him back in and is like, hey, I have a couple of pictures. I'd love to see if you recognize. He literally does a lineup of pictures of, like, people who used to be at the theater, and immediately sees a picture of Olive's, like, mink coat, like, just covered in furs, and he immediately goes, her. It was her. That's who I saw. That's who I saw. That was her. That was her. Apparently he quit very soon after. Don't blame him. I don't blame him. If I'm doing the rounds at night and I got, like, creepy ghosts kind of following me around every single night, I'd be like, okay, I can't do my job, can't do this properly. So he quits. He leaves. Other sightings of Olive in particular are a crew member was, like, working at an entrance, like a below stage entrance, and just saw, like, legs with stockings, like coyly walking up the steps. It was, like, super cheeky, but then, like, he could see through the legs and then they disappeared. So he saw, like, ghost legs. Oh, that was Olive making a Ziegfeld Follies entrance. Like, all those crazy entrances with, like, headpieces and just, like, feathers. Are you kidding? Olive was just like, yeah, this was my favorite place to enter. Of course. Yeah, look at my legs. These are my legs. I think one of my favorite things that Olive does is she gets really pissed when other people talk about the Follies when she's, like, around. You don't know what happened. And, like, oh, like, I was the Folly. Like, I was the best Folly girl. I love it. She gets, like, all showgirlsy. So apparently when Lion King was at the New Amsterdam Theatre, on Monday nights when the theater is dark to audiences, they would sometimes have events there. They would sometimes have events at the theater. And sometimes, since in early 90s, there were still some of the original Follies girls were still alive, they would bring them in and hire them and, like, have them perform, because since it was the home of the Ziegfeld Follies, like, why not bring them in and have them perform, right? Olive would be pissed at that. You know, she thinks that she's the main Folly. Like, she is Ziegfeld's Follies. Look it up. She's the picture you see. So apparently the next day, when a matinee of Lion King would be going on, the mechanisms of the stage would always get messed up after an event where original Follies girls were asked to come and perform. Like, as if it's, like, a little, like, F you. Like, you didn't ask me? Well, I'm gonna mess up your show, and then it's all gonna be about me. So I just imagine, like, there being technical issues. Like, I'm just thinking, like, imagining, like, Pride Rock, like, kind of, like, on, like, on its revolve. And, like, you just see, like, if you're able to just, like, see the ghost of Olive just, like, doing a kick line and just, like, with feathers or just, like, strutting. She's just like, I'm here! My entrance now! Yes! That's what I like to think Olive did. Oh, and apparently when there would be, like, tours, history of the Follies would be said, like, just things would start like flying off the shelves as if like Olive was like throwing some shit. I just love her because she's basically like Broadway's like Moaning Myrtle. Like she's just like, I love it. She pouts, she throws things. She's just like, nah, I'm the star. She scares the shit out of people in elevators. Oh, apparently during the run of Mary Poppins, there's an audience member that came up to an usher and was just like, oh my God, I love that you have like such an interactive cast to audience experience. And he was like, I'm sorry, what? I loved the woman in costume in the theater that helped me to my seat. Like, I just thought that was such a nice touch that not all the ushers are dressed in black, but that some of them are in costume. And he's like, what? You know, Olive is deciding that she needs some union points too. So she's just like, I need to get a job because the rent at the New Amsterdam Theatre is outrageous. So she's gotta start working as an usher, still paying her dues after you're dead. Shit. So in order to appease Olive and to keep her at bay and to keep her happy, there is a photo of her at every single entrance and exit of the theater, and every single person, cast, crew, administration, people that work in the building, are expected and meant to say hello and goodbye and blow a kiss to her every single time they enter and leave the building. She's the star. It's all about Olive. All about Olive. It's her life.
There's a musical in like the very early stages that had like a reading with Elise Vanderpool called Ghostlight, all about Olive Thomas. It was like done in 2011. Am I onto something or am I onto something here? Oh, is that gonna be my Broadway role?
So that's the story of Olive Thomas in the New Amsterdam Theatre and its connection to the ghost light. When I was reading that, I was like, oh my God, he saw her in the light of the ghost light? What? So, needless to say, I was very excited while researching this. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been thinking a lot about ghost lights during this time, like during this only intermission time that we have, because the last time that theater went truly dark was the Great Depression. And y'all, feels like the Great Depression in terms of our hearts lately. We are all missing theater like crazy. Our industry is just hemorrhaging money, and it's really just devastating, number one, to see so many theaters closing and not opening back up again. When Frozen closed, I was so surprised because I wouldn't have thought a Disney show would close, but that being the first one, yeah. And I'm pretty sure the New Amsterdam Theatre, since it has a 99-year lease, they were gonna close a show that wasn't there first. I'm so curious, like, are ghost lights still on right now? Knowing that almost every single theater has been dark for 8 months. And apparently, according to a couple of theaters in Florida, they're still on. And I think it's more of a symbolic gesture at this point. Truly, the superstition is becoming a reality and becoming a symbol of hope rather than fear and like spookiness. It's a symbol of theater will be back. Truly, this is only intermission. If that light goes out, that means theater is dead. And there is no way in hell that theater is dead right now. Theater lives in our hearts. We just can't be on the stage doing it right now. I just read a post from my friend Jenna online. This is only intermission, but can you imagine how great this act 2 is gonna be? And I read that and was like, ah, oh, yes. I think that's incredibly powerful. The ghost light just being such a symbol of hope. There's still light. There's still a beacon of hope for us in the theater community. And with that, safe to say that theater will be back. Who knows when and who knows how, but it will be, because we've got that ghost light leading us and there's no way that it's ever gonna be extinguished. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this little video all about the ghost light and the ghost of Olive Thomas and her sassy, iconic queen. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate it. It really helps my channel and helps me know that this is the type of content you like seeing. Tell me down below if there are any other superstitions or specific ghosts of theaters that you'd like me to talk about, or even just true crime related things happening in theaters that I might not know about. I have a couple lined up already. If you're like, oh, talk about this murder that happened in this theater, please let me know down below, and I would love to research it and give you full-on credit, give you a little shout out in my video. That's all for me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram for all the haps. We'll leave the light on for you. All of the links to all the articles and podcasts that I got my information on tonight will be listed down below. I really suggest to listen to the Ghostlight podcast. It's just really fun. It's basically everything that I wanted to do in a podcast. It's already being done, so I'm like, ah! I'm jealous, and yet I love. I kind of want to end these videos just like I end the M word video, you know, we're evoking some spirits. We're talking about some supernatural shit. So I just kind of want to close this by closing this like little, maybe like portal, hopefully that we have not opened here in my home. So I kind of like the idea of finishing every single one of these particular videos, part of the Puck monologue from the end of Midsummer Night's Dream, because it's benevolent and feels like it is a nice closer to these types of videos. So, if we shadows have offended, think but this, and all is mended, that you have but slumbered here, whilst these visions did appear. And this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend, if you pardon, we will mend. And I, as an honest Puck, if we have unearned luck now to escape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long, else a Puck a liar call. So good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall astore amends.